You're listening to this because something inside you is tired of pretending. Good. Let's get something straight right now. I'm not here to save you. I'm not here to inspire you with pretty lies. I'm here to strip you down, break your excuses, and leave you standing alone with the only thing that actually matters. What you do when no one is watching.
I don't care about your past, your trauma, your circumstances, or how unfair the world's been to you.
Everyone's got a story.
Winners don't lead with it. You think you're special because life hit you hard? No. Life hits everyone. The difference is, some people hit back harder.
You keep waiting for the right moment, the right mindset, the right push. That's weakness dressed up as patience. You don't need motivation. You need spine. You need to accept that nobody is coming to clap for you, guide you, or give you permission to become more than you are. If you're still looking around for validation, you've already lost. Power doesn't announce itself. It shows up, does the job, and leaves bodies on the floor. Metaphorically or not. Depends on how soft you stay. Look at yourself honestly. Not the version you imagine becoming. Not the highlight reel you daydream about when you're lying in bed doing nothing. Look at what you do every day. That's who you are. Not your intentions, not your potential, your actions. And right now, if this is hitting you, it's because your actions are embarrassing compared to what you know you're capable of. That gap, that disgust you feel, good. Sit in it. That's the only honest emotion you've had in a while. You say you want more, but your habits say you want comfort. You say you're serious, but your discipline disappears the moment it gets inconvenient. You say you're different, but you fold under pressure just like everyone else. You don't lack talent. You lack the ability to endure being uncomfortable without crying about it internally. You want the outcome without respecting the cost. That's not ambition, that's entitlement. Let me tell you something you don't want to hear. Nobody owes you a damn thing. Not respect, not recognition, not understanding, not even a chance. Everything you want is guarded by pain, and pain doesn't negotiate. You either walk through it willingly, or it drags you through while laughing at you. And if you're honest, most days you've been choosing the easy route, then wondering why you feel empty and angry. You're not tired because you're overworked. You're tired because you're under-disciplined. Your mind is weak because you let it run wild without control. You scroll, you distract, you numb yourself. Then you wonder why you feel hollow. That's not burnout, that's self-betrayal. Every time you choose comfort over effort, you teach yourself that your word means nothing. And when your word means nothing to you, it means nothing to the world. You don't need confidence. Confidence is loud and fragile. You need certainty. Certainty comes from repetition, from doing the hard thing so many times that doubt doesn't even get a seat at the table anymore. You're still arguing with yourself every morning about whether you should show up. That's pathetic. Decisions are supposed to be made once. After that, it's just execution. Eliminate the debate. You already know what needs to be done. The problem is you're still hoping there's an easier way. There isn't. You think the people you admire felt ready? You think they woke up inspired every day? No. They just hated weakness more than they loved comfort. They built a version of themselves that doesn't need motivation because it runs on standards. And standards don't care how you feel. Standards don't adjust to your mood. Standards don't bend because you had a bad day. You either meet them or you don't. And if you don't, you pay for it in silence. You've been lying to yourself. Telling yourself you'll lock in soon. Soon is the language of cowards. Soon is how dreams rot. Soon is how potential dies quietly while you stay busy doing nothing important. If you were serious, your life would already look different. Harsh truth, but it's clean. And clean truth cuts deeper than any comforting lie. Stop romanticizing struggle. Struggle isn't poetic. It's ugly, repetitive, and lonely. Most days you won't feel powerful. You'll feel bored, irritated, and alone with your thoughts. That's the price. And if you're not willing to pay it, stop pretending you want more. There's no honor in wanting, only in doing. Wanting is free. Doing costs everything. You don't need to be liked. You don't need to be understood. You don't need approval. Those are chains you willingly wrap around your own neck. The moment you decide that being respected by yourself matters more than being accepted by others, everything changes. You move differently. You speak less. You stop explaining. You stop performing. You start becoming dangerous, not because you're loud, but because you're inevitable. Right now, you're predictable. Your patterns are weak. Your reactions are emotional. You let people get under your skin because you haven't mastered yourself. That's not strength. That's exposure. Control your emotions, or they'll control you. The world doesn't care about how intense you feel inside if your results don't reflect it. Energy without direction is just noise. You want to stand out? And stop blending in with mediocrity disguised as normalcy. Normal is slow death. Normal is settling. Normal is living a life that looks acceptable from the outside and feels empty on the inside. If you choose normal, don't complain about feeling invisible. You chose to disappear. You've been measuring yourself against people who don't scare you. That's why you're comfortable. That's why you're stagnant. You should be surrounded by standards that make you feel small. If you're always the smartest, strongest, or most driven in the room, you're in the wrong room. Comfort is a warning sign. Growth doesn't feel safe. It feels like constant pressure. And pressure is what forges something lethal. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your discipline. And right now, your discipline is inconsistent because your identity is unstable. You still see yourself as someone trying. Trying is a temporary state. Decide who you are, then act in alignment with it every day, especially when it's boring, especially when no one is watching, especially when you don't feel like it. Understand this. Nobody remembers the almosts. Nobody remembers the ones who had potential. Nobody cares how close you were. History only records execution. Results erase excuses, and excuses don't survive in the presence of someone who actually does the work. You've been consuming too much and creating too little. Watching other people win while you analyze instead of act. Information isn't your problem. Implementation is. You don't need another video, another quote, another push. You need to shut up and do the work with a level of intensity that scares the weaker version of you into silence. There's a version of you that doesn't hesitate, doesn't overthink, doesn't seek permission. That version doesn't negotiate with weakness, it crushes it. But that version doesn't appear magically. You build it by killing the habits that keep you soft. Slowly, brutally, consistently. No audience, no applause. You say you want freedom,
but you live like someone who can't say no to distractions. Freedom isn't doing whatever you want. That's slavery to impulse. Freedom is being able to do what needs to be done, regardless of how you feel. Until you master that, you're just another person controlled by comfort pretending to be different. Let this sink in. No one is impressed by your struggle. They're impressed by your results, and even that doesn't matter. What matters is whether you can look at yourself at the end of the day and know you didn't betray your standards. Self-respect is built in silence, and once you have it, you don't need to prove anything to anyone. You're not behind, you're just undisciplined, and that's fixable, but only if you stop lying to yourself. Stop calling laziness rest. Stop calling fear waiting. Stop calling distraction balance. Be honest. Honesty is the first act of violence against your weaker self. From this moment on, move like someone who has nothing to prove and everything to take. Less talk, less emotion, more execution. Become so sharp that obstacles stop looking like problems and start looking like excuses other people use. You don't need hope. Hope is passive. You need resolve. Cold, silent, relentless resolve. The kind that doesn't announce itself. The kind that doesn't care if anyone believes in you. The kind that keeps moving even when the mind screams for comfort. This isn't about being liked. This isn't about being praised. This is about becoming someone you don't recognize anymore, because the old you wouldn't survive the life you're building. And that's the point. So decide, right now, not emotionally, logically. Are you done being average? Or are you going to keep listening to things like this, nodding your head, feeling fired up, then going back to the same habits? Because if you don't change, nothing changes. And deep down, you already know that. Now prove it, silently.